What is going on, everybody? No need to introduce everybody on the panel. You just saw us 3 hours ago, but we got some stuff to talk about. Shout out to the Washington football team for winning the game. At the end of the day, I'm a realist. No matter if my team is winning, lost because they by a little bit or because they plain out sucked in the second half, which we did. Shout out to the Washington football team. I'm a man of my word. They were honestly the better football team, especially when you look at the second half. Now, that's not going to be the rest of our season, but wow, was it bad. Give me your first initial take on it, Philly Fresh. Just the overall game. You can go half and half. Just let me know what you think about it.
My first initial take was this is a bunch of bull crap. It was a bunch of bull crap. You knew your quarterback. You know your quarterback is basically livestock. He just sitting there ready to get sacked every single time. They had 8 sacks. Are you freaking serious? You did a good job in the first quarter, and it's crazy. It's like a reverse of last year. You start off slow. Carson Wentz start off slow. A whole bunch of bull crap happens, false starts and all that. But we start off fast, you get to it, and then you stop doing what you was doing in the second, third, and fourth quarter. The middle of the second, third, and fourth quarter. I'm like, what the heck are you doing? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like, Doug, you are better than this. I'm telling your ass on a excuse me, y'all. You're behind us on a hot seat right now. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I'm pissed. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'm pissed. There should be no reason why we 17-0 up in the second quarter and we lose to the Washington football team, who quarterback is who talent is we understand. We understand, and we talked about this pregame. We understand how they front four or front seven, whatever you want to call it is. But you still gotta make sure that you get Carson Wentz out of the pocket. You got to make sure that he's still comfortable the whole game. 8 sacks, I understand. And then once you say, and here's what had me pissed. I'm sorry, y'all, but I'm going on my rant right now. Here's what had me pissed. After linemen went out, you still did the same thing. For a 5 step back drops. Why? These dudes are hunting. And then once Boston Scott went out, I'm like, all right, he's going to switch things up. You're still not running the ball. I don't even have the stats on how many times we rushed, but I know Carson Wentz threw for way more times than we rushed. And that's not acceptable, man. That's not acceptable. I understand our star running back was there, but I ain't trying to hear that. You run the damn ball. You run up, you keep the offense honest. You keep the defenses honest. I didn't see too many screens, and when it was screens, it was outside screens to Greg Ward. That should be the last person you throw a screen to. He don't got no speed. What are you throwing a screen on him for? Carson Wentz had a bad game. I'm not going to negate that. Ertz, I ain't going to negate that. You should have caught that ball. You know what I mean? Fourth down. You should have. But this is on Doug Peterson to me. And then I'm not going to give. I'm not going to. I'm not going to sit here and say Jim Schwartz don't got nothing to do with this, because you played bumper run coverage the first, second, and third quarter, or the middle of the third quarter. Then you get to the third quarter and fourth quarter, and you go back to the old Jim. You got dudes 7, 8 yards back, and now McLaurin and all these other dudes that we don't even know the freaking name of is running around crazy. Stop it, man. This is crazy. We should have been 1-0, and right now we own one. I'm done with my rant for now. Y'all go ahead, man.
Go ahead, Gates City. Give me your general thoughts
All
of the
right.
game.
To begin, guys, if it lags, it's because my internet's lagging, guys. Probably because I was just streaming everything. All right. To me, Carson had a bad game. It probably wasn't as bad as people think, but I think that he let Washington breathe life, ending the first half with that pick. The second pick, I don't put on Carson. That was Hightower. Hightower didn't sell the route. He didn't sink his hips. He didn't come back to the football. That was Hightower. That wasn't Carson. The first one was 100% Carson. He tried to throw back shoulder. He lobbed it up. We gave him life when we didn't need to give him life. But the bigger problem to me is, let's just look at the facts of what happened. You spend a second-round pick on a backup quarterback, okay? Where the hell was he at in this game? You inactivated a second-round pick. Howie, get the hell out of Philadelphia. get out. You got to go, bro. Offensive line. Where's the depth? Where's the backups? Hey, man, Driscoll, I thought until he got injured, played. All right. I can give him a pass. He's a rook. First game, I give that a pass. I can tell you right now, Herbig ain't the dude at right guard. Herbig not it. He's not it. We're sitting here, and yes, we can sign Cordy Glenn tomorrow. Sure, you won't have to guarantee his full contract. At the end of the day, was it worth it? Was it worth it to fall one game behind in your division, mostly because you couldn't keep your quarterback upright? Carson held the ball a couple of times on this one. No doubt he held the ball too long. But at the same time, there were a few of those plays where it's kind of like, what the hell did you want him to do? What did you want him to do? You didn't give him enough time to operate back there. Doug. I feel a certain way about Doug, guys. I don't know how y'all feel, but I feel all the goodwill Doug built up with me, I feel like it died today because that was the most stubborn play calling I ever saw in my life.
Yeah.
At what point was it just not fully like transparent and just clear as hell? You got to roll the pocket, man. You can't just sit there 3 yards back, same spot, and have Washington play who can tackle Carson first. It's ridiculous. There was no creativity past the first, like, I don't know. I'd say the first 20 minutes of the game. Creativity just died. We didn't give them a lot of diverse looks. We didn't give them a lot of diverse sets. I know some of that has to do with the line failing and falling on its face. I get it. But like I said, you spent a second round pick on a backup quarterback. You could have gone with a 2 quarterback set right here, and I guarantee you that would have slowed the pass rush. They would have had to pay both of them in the game.
But and to go on with what both of you guys say, I agree. Look, you go ahead and get a guy in Rich Scanganello to be your second to Doug Peterson, even I guess above Marty Morning, whoever, it doesn't matter. He comes in here only to bootleg and roll Carson Wentz out, which we constantly don't see. We saw Haskins bootleg. We saw this stuff. We saw movement from him. We had Carson Wentz dropping back after continuously getting sacked. And listen, Carson Wentz was sacked 4 times while we were winning 17-0. So the other 4 came while we got outscored 27-0. However, you got sacked 4 times and we're still up 17-0 is because the way you were calling the game. You went away from that. You took shots with Jalen Reagor early, shots with Djax early. Late, you weren't taking them. And I understand the pressure was there. Mulata came in for Driscoll. Yeah, but you have to do this. But I will say this. The play calling was horrendous. But I'm a big Carson Wentz guy, and I'm constantly saying how I think he's going to blah, blah, blah. A lot is on his plate. Both interceptions probably weren't his fault. The one might have not been his fault, but still, maybe you got to be the guy like you used to be and not put trust in the guy like John Hightower to go up and make that adjustment to the ball. Here's the thing. Carson was playing with house money, and the house took all our money, and we went back into the bank account because interceptions are interceptions. When Ronald Darby got that interception, caught it and dropped it, if he picked it, who cares? The way he threw the interceptions gave them life. Every single time the Washington football team had the ball, they were trash. But as soon as they got the interception, they built the momentum. They came down the field with a task, and they finished the task. Now, the defense was lax. That blown assignment, I don't know if it was Mills or Maddox, but that's going to happen with no preseason. However, we shouldn't have put the defense in that situation. When we made the Washington football team drive the ball down the field, they couldn't do it. When we gift-wrapped them the ball, they answered. So 14 points were hand given to them. I think they had to go a total of 60 yards for 14 points, maybe 50 yards. I think one was 30 yards and one was like 25 yards. And then the last thing, I'm all about Carson creating plays. Him extending plays is always dangerous because you can get a 10-yard sack. However, you can get a 30-yard touchdown. But there's certain times where you got to know that there's no getting rid of it. When he avoids the sack inside field goal range, you got to understand. You saw Matt Ryan kind of cost the Super Bowl to the Falcons because he took himself out of field goal range. In a game like this, where the offense is not coming pretty to you in the second half, you got to throw the ball away in that position. Because I know Carson Wentz gets on a podium and always says, I always struggle when to throw it away and not, because I get some of my best plays on not throwing it away, but not in field goal range, not when the things ain't clicking. It was Carson Wentz. I'm putting this game, the second half of this game was almost like last year around that Seattle and New England time because he fumbled twice. We got him back. But that's not always going to happen. So he's sloppy with the ball on the fumbles. He was sloppy with the ball throwing. Listen, am I giving up on Carson? I will dare not say put Jalen Hurts in. No, it's game one. Everybody's shaky. The Washington football team came out and played a solid game. I'm not taking nothing away from their D-line. I'm not taking nothing away from Moreland and Moorhan, and even Ronald Darby after getting burnt toast by Jalen Reagor kind of stepped it up a little bit. So shout out to their team for that. However, we put ourselves in bad situations via the play call and via Carson Wentz, and we deserve to lose this game so we could look at ourselves in the mirror like, all right, now injuries are there, but we still had a shot.
I ain't shouting out nobody. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Like, you can shout them out all you want, but we gave them this freaking game. This game is on us. They didn't play a good game. Quarterback didn't play a good game. Our defense was doing what they needed to do in the first half. We should have ran away with this freaking game. So I'm not giving them nothing. I mean that's cool that you want to do that, Mike. And I ain't got no dispersions on you for doing that. My thing is, you got to coach better. Like, you got all these dudes in your ear and telling you this and telling you that, but you got to stand up and say, listen, we need to run the ball. We need to get Carson Wentz out the pocket. We need to move around everything that we're doing because we heard that offensive line, I'm not going to lie to y'all. Y'all remember when we played the New York Giants last year? That's how we looked. No lie. Like, it was that bad. We had 10 sacks against the New York Giants. They had 8 against us. Mm-hmm. So what we talking about here? Move the pocket. Your quarterback is better than what he looked like. He was uncomfortable. He was forcing things. He felt as though he had to put the game on his shoulder because Boston Scott went out. Miles Sanders is not there. And you calling these plays and not putting him on a run. I don't understand it. You knew coming into this game that you was already hurt. You knew Lane Johnson wasn't going to be there. You know what I mean? You knew that you was going to have a rookie tackle at the right tackle. So you got to make sure that you take all the pressure off of Carson Wentz. But no, you want to be stubborn and say, I'm going to make this play. I'm going to make sure this play works. And it ain't working. And you had 60 minutes to see that. But what happened was, in the first quarter, you seen, oh, my plays is working. I'm doing the right thing. But it wasn't working in the second half because you switched it up. Like you like we tell our coaches to make halftime adjustments. You made them in the wrong freaking way. Like, you was doing everything was working in the first quarter. You know what I mean? Carson Wentz does have to stop with the fumble. Carson Wentz does have to. I mean, the first one was on Geek City. I agree with you. You know what I mean? The first one was on Carson Wentz. But the second one, I thought as though Hightower should have came up more. But you got to understand, he's a rookie. They don't have chemistry, stuff like that. So I'm not going to put that much on Hightower, but I'm going to keep putting it on Doug. Doug, you on the spotlight right now. And when your press conference, I'm pretty sure he probably at the podium. If not now, in the next 15 minutes, I don't want to hear none of that bull crap. You need to take ownership and say, you know what? I effed this up. The reason that we are 0-1 right now is because of you. You know what I mean? Like, even Jim Schwartz, I can't give Jim Schwartz more blame than I give Doug Peterson. Jim Schwartz held it down until around, I don't know why the heck he started playing that defense again. I don't know if y'all seen it, but I seen it. You know what I mean? Avonte Maddox 10 yards back and all that. Stop it with that, man.
Pre-that shit, yeah.
Stop it with that bull crap. You know what I mean? And also, run the ball. I don't care who was running the ball. Just run it. You can't have Carson Wentz first down, throw. Second down, throw. Third down. You know they throwing, so they're going to go hunt. They're going to go eat. Like, you got to be better than that, man. I got you as a top 5 coach in the game. You ain't looking like that right now. I'm going to tell you that right now. Like, Ron Rivera out-coached Doug Peterson.
F. Howie Roseman. Dude, you are delusional if you think this was Wentz and not Doug. I can't even help you because that's just so damn delusional. It's not funny.
let me say this. Let me say this. Well, real quick. Shout out to Be More Philly with a $4.99 super chat. How can you blame Wentz for holding the ball too long when he don't have time to set up the throw? Listen, I agree. Everything goes hand in hand. Really, football is a game where everybody got to be. It's a team game. LeBron James can go out and shoot 0 for 10. And they lost the game solely because LeBron wasn't LeBron. Because when the ball's in his hands, ain't nobody stopping him. Listen, the offensive line dictates your quarterback. Your quarterback dictates your receivers. Your receivers dictate your quarterbacks. Your coach dictates everybody. And the players dictate the coach too, because you can call the perfect play and then not execute right. So everything dictates everyone. However, Doug said put us in bad situations. No, the offensive line couldn't block for nothing. 8 sacks. Shout out to them for that. They're good. But Doug's job is to say, wow, we need to do something to diminish this, because they weren't really doing that. And what's the best way to do that? Yes, screens and all that, but running the ball is the traditional way to stop the pass rush. It doesn't allow these guys to pin their ears back and go solely at the quarterback. However, roll the pocket to the left side, to the strong side. Roll the pocket to the side where you have more people, or put your 12-man personnel, keep both your tight ends on the right side, and then roll the pocket to the right side, because you have your extra blockers there. But you got to do some of that stuff. Last year, there was a stat that Carson Wentz was the second best quarterback in the NFL when on the move. Now, Doug Peterson spoke about it. He said the reason we brought Rich Scanganello, I can never say his last name in here, is because he's all about the rollouts and the bootlegs and the blah-de-boo-boo-blah. Well, did he have coronavirus? Was he on the sidelines? Because I didn't see no bootlegs. I seen Carson Wentz drop back, and yes, they were playing some pretty good defense. There was times where the camera angle shows it where Carson Wentz had nobody open. Okay, nobody open, a bad offensive line. That's not a good combination. However, when you're on the field at certain spots, you got to know what you got to do. And, you know, Carson Wentz's favorite move is the duck under. And who did he get that with the most? Washington. He's always ducking under them. They weren't allowing that this time. So it was a full combination of the coach not getting us in the right spots, the quarterback pressing. And again, these interceptions, I don't care if they're like the Ronald Darby drop, but they were in the spots where it gave Washington life. And Washington's offense looked bad unless we gave them the field possession. It was as simple as that. But at the end of the day, man, that defensive stand could have did everything. And Crevion LeBlanc it wasn't Crevion. It was Nickel Roby-Coleman was just a little bit too slow to the ball. But again, I mean, a 4th and 1, you know, the defense did what they had to do for the most part, except for the missed assignment. Like Philly Fresh said, they did start playing back, but I'm going to credit what Philly Fresh said. Jim Schwartz got soft in the 4th quarter. I give 100% to Gate City too. Doug Peterson, he just called a bad game. It was probably the worst combination of Carson and Doug, because we've seen games where Carson struggled, but Doug then comes out of it. Or we see games where Doug struggles and maybe Carson gets us out of it. It was a 100% total blunt by both of them, and that's why it looked that bad.
Yeah, it's a tough situation here, because I'm just not sold on Doug Peterson right now. I'm not, man. I mean, this was such an easy situation to resolve. Like, number one, where was pre-snap motions? Where was the movement? Where was the jet sweeps? Where was anything to slow the damn pass rush down? Anything. As Mike alluded to, where was the rolling of the pocket at? Why were we just standing there trying to get through 3 to 4 progressions when you only have at second and a half, 2 seconds to throw? That's not ideal. That's not what you do. And then he tries to figure out late in the game, when they try to speed it up and go back to last year's format of playing everything in front of you, doing that real quick, get it out of your hands style offense, but you're down 2 scores at that point. It's too late. You have to push vertical at that point, because all you're doing is running the clock out on yourself. Doug called one of the worst games I've ever watched him call. The only other one where I ever felt this angry about the results of the play calling was that New Orleans game in 2018. That was the only one. The only other one where I just felt like, what are you doing? Like, this is just a horribly called game. Like, it's frustrating.
That first Dallas game was horrible too. When Diller was playing right tackle, that was horrible too.
And look, see, I'm not. I'm not going to let Carson Wentz slip on these 2 fumbles. Again, it didn't amount to much. So you kind of look at him like, yeah, well, it wasn't a turnover. We got him back. But anytime the quarterback drops the ball is a problem because we get 2 of them back. Next time we lose 2 of them. So like I said, it all got to be addressed. Again, if we had a full preseason and everything and we came out and looked like this, it'd be a lot more concerning. Also, if we have Brandon Brooks, Lane Johnson, Andre Dillard, and we come out and we look like this, it's concerning. Even Lane Johnson back, I believe, would have solidified the right side a little bit better. But I want to address something that I don't know. I want to get both your takes on after I say this. Shout out to Murph DeKenzo, said, can we get them reactions up? Only 32 likes, 1 dislike. We got a couple people watching here. So if you're new to the channel, subscribe to all 3 of us. We got the Philly Talk Podcast, Philly Fresh, and Gate City Sports Channel. We cover Eagles all week. Win or lose or draw. We're not going to be cowards and not make our appearances. Win, lose, draw. We're 0-1, but we ain't done yet. We got some more to talk about. So make sure you smash that like button and also subscribe to everyone. However, Zach Ertz, we know that drop. I know Philly Fresh mentioned that drop because actually Ronald Darby was man-to-man with him. He got separation. I don't care if you want to say he pushed off or not. There was no flag called. So he got the separation and it hit him in the things that he wants to sign on the line for some more money, but he not catching the ball. Listen, it's one play. Zach Ertz made a bunch of them, but that's a gimme for Zach Ertz. And also, did you see when Carson Wentz overthrew Zach Ertz and he kind of went with that little attitude thing? Listen, Carson Wentz overthrown Zach Ertz many times. Zach Ertz never has that look to him. And now you report, Philly Fresh, that he had an argument with Howie. We all know the up in the air status with his contract. I never seen Zach Ertz like, ugh. And then he was, ugh. Didn't really get back into the game. And then on 4th and 3, he beat Darby and it hit him right in the midst and he dropped it. What's your take on how his body language was and then dropping that?
Talking to me?
You can go first if you want.
I mean, that was disgusting. I mean, I understand it, like, all right, you cool, you open and all that. But I'm gonna tell you what, he was befuddled because Dallas Goedert was outshining him. And we already know it seemed like a competition this year because he wants to get paid, and the reason they don't want to pay him is because of Dallas Goedert. But I'm gonna tell you who attitude had me mad the most. And Gate City, you can chime in on Ertz, but I gotta get at this dude. They gave you the money that you wanted. You acted like a baby, said you wanted to play left tackle, so you wanted more money. They gave you the money, and you looked at horrible. You looked at bad. You looked at not interested. I'm looking at some of these plays. It's dudes around him while Carson Wentz is still scrambling. He literally had his hands on his hips. And you went $8 million for that? Come on, man, don't do that. Listen, man. It's so many fingers to point at. You know what I mean? I don't even think I got enough on my hands. But Jason Peters, you can't act like that, especially when the offensive line is in shambles, man. I'm literally watching you because I want to see what you do and what you don't do. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at you in the backfield. I'm looking at Carson Wentz running for his life, literally. Like Carson Wentz is running for his life. You know how? Listen, Wawa, 7-Eleven, Royal Farms, whatever. They're gonna run out of ice because Carson was gonna need all that. I ain't gonna lie to you. He took some hits, man, and it's a shame because we're not really known for that. It's been a luxury for us to have a good line all these years. But this right here, that was atrocious. But what can offset that? We already talked about it, right? Having your quarterback roll out. Having your quarterback, this one made me so frustrated because they did it. Gates and Mike, they did it in the first quarter. We seen Carson was rolling out. We seen him looking. Even Chase Young was coming at him, but he's still making play after play after play. Why do you stop that? I don't even care if you run the same damn play. But you ran out of rollout plays? If you did, that's on the coaching staff.
So they
Like, I don't
scripted
get
it. They scripted it essential
Then
to
they
the
stopped
playbook,
it.
but it's not essential to the playbook, and that's a big, big problem because
Right.
I'm gonna need Doug to step into my office because you're fucking fired,
You just stole my line.
bro.
No,
Yeah.
listen.
'Cause-
I'm not going to fire Doug yet. Doug has done so
Nah.
much.
Yeah, I'm joking. I'm not being
No.
Yeah.
I
It's heat of the
know.
moment. You got to remember. Listen, everybody in the chat, we're the same people as you. You know what I mean? Like the reason we don't do the live game reactions is because we're legit Eagle
Hey, yo,
fans who
bro,
watch the game.
real fast, Mike, because I just got a text. I sent this to somebody. If you get another link in, link them in. Surprise guest. You heard me?
Who?
I ain't giving y'all that, man, because they don't show up. Then I'm looking like,
Oh, but are they going to hit my phone or something? Oh, you sent the link to them?
Yeah.
All right.
It's somebody that everybody in this chat and y'all two ain't got no problem with. So
Got you.
somebody.
All right, but I wanted to say this before Gate City goes ahead on his thing. We're all fans. We're the same emotional. That's why Monday we normally look back at the tape and give you our honest assumption of really whose fault it was and breaking down some Coach 22 and all that stuff. But shout out to Bobby Stevens saying Doug's calling play action without even running the ball first. Shout out to Bobby Stevens for the $2.99 super chat. Hey, you're right. I mean, it was a lot of flip-flop. And like they both just said, the scripted plays were good, but the scripted plays are not in the playbook. And these are some things you need to take from there and put over here because, again, I do believe Jack Del Rio and Riverboat Ron going for it on fourth are better than Jay Gruden and them guys. So give them credit for not falling down. But look at this. This is disgusting in the sense that the same thing happened again. Down 17, the Eagles come back and win. Now we up 17 and the Washington football team comes back and win. And I just can't fathom it.
There's a couple things I want to tackle. Number one, DG Rob. I was joking. I'm not being serious. But number two, you need to wake up to the fact that Jeffrey Lurie is thinking about firing Doug. That's already been leaked. So it's not an imminent thing, but he's not happy with the offense's performance, and that falls on Doug. When you don't get to pick your coaches, and let's be clear, Doug did not get his chance to pick his coaches. They were chosen for him. The decision was made for him. Anyone with eyes can see that. That's a bad omen. That's a bad sign. That means your ass is in hot water. You're in the hot seat. Now, I'm not saying that Peterson can't turn this around. Doug's really good at coaching with his pants on fire. But we can't keep doing this every year, man. You can't keep happening every year. It's ridiculous. Today's game is inexcusable from a play calling standpoint. We had no clue how to finish this game off. We built a 17-point lead and had no idea how to close it out. That's the truth.
That's the thing. We're so close. We're so used to being behind. I mean, let's face it. The Super Bowl season, the reason these guys like Darby and Mills play good in the defense is because they got to play with the luxury of a 10-point lead almost every game. We started out the gate fast. And guess what happened? Since the Super Bowl run, we've been in every game that we won. We probably were losing at halftime. The Packers, a lot of them, we came out clicking. And he couldn't control it. He got oh, this is too easy now. Let's just do this. And how about this? You got guys like Boston Scott, right? And I think every play we ran, we just went north and south. Like almost every run play was just north and south. There was a couple in the second half. Don't get me wrong. I'm over. Again, I don't got all the film in my head. I remember the first half. And as we start losing the way we lost, certain things start to blur together, But it was just a overall bad game together. When you're talking about the coaching staff to the players, it all came in. And it's like I said, there's times where Doug gets us out, Carson gets us out, but they both failed to do that this game. And again, 2 fumbles. We didn't lose them. But if you're talking about 2 fumbles with a chance of loss, 2 interceptions, both inside the 30-yard line, we
lost one. We lost one.
Yeah, we did lose one at the end. Yeah.
Lost one.
3 fumbles then.
Some of you Cowboy fans might be careful. You haven't played yet. You talking a little too much for a team that hasn't taken the field yet. I'm just going to put that out there. If you're not a Washington football team fan, you might want to hold your tongue until you get drugged and drug all across that field.
Hey, but
There's one more thing I wanted to tackle, Mike,
No,
and
go ahead.
it has to do with Zach Ertz. I sent Reese a text, and I was like, "Oh, Zach about to prove why he needs to be paid." No, he didn't. He did the exact opposite. Here's the thing, guys. I know it's easy to get down on Zach Ertz, and Zach Ertz clearly showed frustration. I agree with everything Mike said. You could see it on his face out there. He's frustrated about this contract. The front office needs to be real careful because Zach has friends. Zach knows people across the league. And everyone knows Zach got screwed here in Philadelphia, to be truthful. Zach Ertz was the guy who kept restructuring his contract to get other guys under contract. And now we're not taking care of him, and we sent him a pretty insulting offer, to be honest, a couple weeks ago. Guys, we can talk about the business perspective of this, of should you really, you know what I'm saying, do this? Because you do got a young guy in Goddard. Don't you want to be more 11-man? I get all those arguments. I think there's merit to every one of those arguments. But we also have to consider the way this looks to the rest of the players in the league, that maybe the Eagles front office isn't as cool as people think. Maybe that front office is a little more, you give us and we screw you over later. That's a concern I have right now with this contract situation with Zach Ertz, because I think all the players realize exactly what happened. And it might make some guys feel a certain way. Now, if you can keep drafting and bringing the young guys in, they don't got no recollection of this stuff. They don't remember it. They don't care. They're too young to care about it. But some of the other guys, when you're dealing with veterans in free agency and stuff like that, they might start getting real skeptical about those numbers in the contract. I'm not saying they wouldn't sign here. They're going to go where the money is, but an opportunity is. But they might become more combative about the contracts, about you're not backloading my contract, man. We see how you treat people when you backload them. I think we got to be careful with that, man. I think this front office isn't looking at the full perspective.
All right, real quick. Shout out to Be More Philly for a 499 super chat. He said in Carson's defense, there was 2 deep passes where he overthrew Rager and Djax. That won't happen in a few weeks. That would have sealed the game. True. So in his defense, meaning once he gets in the mix of things, he'll make that throw. But at the end of the day, he's the one who did miss the throw. So
I ain't gonna lie.
In his defense of like, yeah, Carson can make that throw. He just can't make it this early in the season with no preseason. Yeah, but I mean, we can't say like someone else threw it. It still was Carson. So I mean, he got to hit that regardless if he hasn't played football in a year or two. That's what we pay him to do. But listen, I understand your thought process. If this is week 5 and he's in a groove, that's a touchdown. But
I ain't gonna lie to you. Carson Wentz came out looking good. Like I put it in the Twitter chat we got. I put it in a group chat that we got. He came out looking good, man. That pass to Dallas Goedert, that pass to Rager was on the money, both of them. Now, the pass to Deshaun, I was hoping that was on the money. The other pass to Rager, that was more of a miss than the one to Deshaun. I don't know. I mean, if that was Aguilar, I think we would have probably grinded him up, because it kind of seemed like Deshaun could have got that, and he seemed discouraged. And you know, they put the camera on him. He was talking. I don't know what he was talking, but he seemed discouraged. I just felt as though they didn't use Deshaun as much. He didn't use JJ on the right side
too.
Yeah, where was JJ? Where was JJ?
They didn't use him.
Did he not make the trip?
He was out there barely.
No, I know he was out there, but like, come on.
That wasn't even his fault. He wasn't even targeted. Like, that's not that. If you don't get targeted, that's not your fault. You know what I mean? And I know I'm not just saying that because I had him as the breakout guy of the game, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? I mean, we can kind of laugh and joke. I'm still pissed, but you know, we can laugh. I mean, it's one game. We understand that. I understand we got 15 more, but at the same time, this is the game that you needed. This schedule is not light.
Easy.
This ain't 2017 schedule. You know what I mean? You see the highlights with Baltimore. You see Lamar Jackson doing what he doing. Cleveland, that's probably a win. The Saints, and I think they're going at it right now. The Saints and and
which I want
Tampa
to
Bay.
get to soon. I want to get to this game. So let me just get these super chats in, and I want to just hear your thoughts on some more. But Jay Kill, shout out with the super chat. He said this was Carson, period. So he's not trying to hear nobody.
He's my guy. I talk to him all the time. I always appreciate him. He's my boy. I don't agree with that statement. This was Doug, period. You can't put something on Carson when he doesn't have time to throw. Look, he threw one pick at the end of the half that was absolutely 100% him. Like, there was no need to make that throw. That throw definitely caused a shift in momentum, and it was 100% on Wentz. I disagree, and I saw 2020's comment. 2020 is another guy I respect a lot, but the second interception wasn't Carson. That was John Hightower. He didn't sell the route. He didn't sink his hips. He didn't create the separation. He didn't come back to the ball. It's not really on Carson. Carson threw it where it was supposed to be. The receiver didn't make it to where he's supposed to be at. That's really the receiver on that one.
Yeah.
To me, it's play calling, guys. This short for me. The easiest thing to assess here was the O-line was complete and utter trash, and the play calling did nothing to help. Like we could definitely get on Wentz for knocking himself out of field goal range on that one, because I was screaming at the TV too, just throw it the hell away. What are you doing? But at the same time,
yeah, I agree with that.
At the same time, like every play, come on, man, every play. At some point, he's got to try to find time to get the ball off. Like
out of his eight sacks, I would say honestly, 5 of them you can't throw away, and I see why he tried to extend it. But there was at least about two, maybe 3 that was just clear, obviously throwaways. But let's get to these real quick. Be More Philly, shout out to Super Chat. He said $4.99. Don't act like Ertz didn't turn down an extension last year. So yes, it's back and forth on both sides. At the end of the day, we just got to say, okay, I understand you're feeling this type of way, but we still got football games we got to win.
Right.
So you can't,
right, BMO. He did turn down an extension, but you got to keep in mind he also restructured his contract several times to get that. They made a certain promise to him, and when that contract came down the line, he was like, "You lost your mind." When that extension was thrown out there.
Roe Bill 1 said, shout out to you for the super chat, my guy. He said those 2 picks were inexcusable, but the inside line play between Kelsey and Herbig, horrid. Too much inside pressure for Lyman to give up. Yeah, the pressure was legitly disgusting.
But it's crazy. It seemed like the shift just changed after the first quarter. Like, we was the one getting pressure in the first quarter. You know what I mean? You see Malik Jackson just looking like a beast. You know what I mean? You seen even Brandon Graham getting there with all. Go ahead.
No. I was just also agreeing with. He said, shout out for the $10 super chat. He said, Wentz through this game. That said, his problem is easy to fix, but Peterson has a huge question mark. 0 rollouts. He left Wentz out there to die in the pocket.
I ain't gonna say 0. I disagree with that. I get what you were saying, but I ain't gonna say 0. After the first quarter, 0. All right,
yeah.
I don't know if y'all can hear that. Y'all can hear that?
Yep. No,
yeah,
we hear you only.
Okay, good.
But yeah, I agree 100% with what he said. The things that Carson Wentz did horrible is fixable. Play calling, you can't just make up a whole new playbook. So is he going to stick with it? And normally a guy who throws 2 picks can bounce back next game and play good. A play caller don't want to change it up so quick, because some people they're hard-headed, and they feel like if they give up after week 1 on that type of play calling, then they look like they were wrong. So sometimes they let it carry on to 3-4 games until they make that change. Shout out to Jalen Williams. He said, after we went up 17-0, Washington adjusted. They saw everything would be in front of them, and they could get home. There was nothing to keep that D honest. And Gate City texted me right away, and he said, look, these guys are jumping on routes. When is Doug Peterson? I know there's not much time in the pocket, but that one you might have to roll somebody out for, or get a max protection and just have one. But when are you going to hit him with a double move with Reagor or Jackson? Go ahead and comment on that.
It was ridiculous. Like when defensive backs are selling out that much, this is common sense. You hit them with a double move and you burn them over the top. And
But
Part
it
of it
ain't
was
no
we didn't
time,
have time.
but you can't do it. Here's what I'm saying real fast. If you don't got the time, you need time. You need at least
Right.
5 seconds for that to
I'm
happen.
getting to it.
Carson Wentz wasn't getting that, bro.
I'm getting to it. It's scheme.
Okay.
You
Okay,
didn't do
my bad.
anything. You didn't do anything to hold the D line's attention like a jet motion. Your play actions don't work if you don't run the ball. Like that's not an RPO. That's a DPO. That's a Doug Peterson option, which is there's no option. You just throw. But it's ridiculous, man. Like you have to scheme things better. You've got to try to manufacture time when your line is getting beat like that. You've got to motion people. You've got to hold people's attention for a second. You've got to roll the pocket. You've got to do things to create enough time to give those receivers enough time to beat them with a double move and beat them over the top. Because I promise you, they were right for the taking if you just gave them 3 seconds to get the ball off. And that's what they didn't give them, was 3 seconds to get the ball off. And I know there's a lot of hate right now in the comments for Wentz, but I'm sorry, guys. I'm not saying Wentz had a good game. Some of you guys are misjudging what happened.
Yeah. In no way, shape, or form did he play good, but in no way, shape, or form did anybody on his team really play good. But
I mean, in the second half, and I mean, it just seemed like in the first quarter and some of the second quarter, he looked like the guy that we paid 117 guaranteed million to. You know what I mean?
15, 176 yards, 2 touchdowns. Once that stat line got put out by all the beat writers on Twitter, I got into the hype. I was retweeting it too, and then it just changed, bro.
You want to know why? Because the offense changed, bro. We can't, like Carson Wentz can't just go out there and pick his own plays. You know what I mean? He's not going to keep changing the play at the line of scrimmage because that's what happened with Aaron Rodgers and the Dallas coach now. I can't remember his name for some reason.
McCarthy?
Yeah, McCarthy. Like he used to come out there and McCarthy would send a play and he would run a whole nother play. You can't have that in an organization. You have to have trust in your coach, but your coach has to step up and protect you at the same time. Because when I'm Carson Wentz, I ain't gonna lie to you. After the third quarter, I'm like, listen, I'm taking control. I seen what was working. I don't know what my coach is doing right now. I don't know if his face mask is too tight on his face and he can't think right now because he ain't breathing right. But something ain't right now. So we gotta make sure, me as the leader of this football team, that we get things done right, man. And then not running the ball. We have not talked about that enough. I understand Miles Sanders not there. I understand Boston Scott went out. But you cannot be one-dimensional, especially with this football team. Yeah. This is what they do. You cannot cater to what they do best. If you're trying to beat somebody, you cannot cater to the things that they do best. You know what I mean? Excuse me. You know what I mean? You got to make sure that you do things that they don't do good. I didn't see too many screens with fast receivers. I didn't see not one screen from the running back. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know what I mean? I didn't see not one screen from the running back. I didn't see no screen from fast receivers. The screen that you throw is to either Dallas Goedert or Greg Ward. They're slow, and there's nothing wrong. Dallas Goedert had a great game. I ain't even gonna hold you. Like whoever had him on his fantasy, shout out to you. Seriously, like he was balling, man. I ain't even gonna lie to you. He did some things, but when you look at it, man, Doug has to be better. You got to put your skill position guys in better in better predicaments. You know what I mean? Like you bring in John Hightower, but then like you don't utilize him how he need to be utilized. I didn't see any sweep plays. I didn't see any reverses. I didn't see any really trick plays. I didn't see any of that. And these are things that you got to do to cover up for your defaults in your on your offensive line. I didn't see any of that. I didn't see the creative mind, Doug, that we have seen before. And I don't want to hear it's week one. It's week one. No, you had 5 weeks to prepare because it wasn't no preseason. So you didn't have to worry about going against another team preseason. Your main focus for the last 5 weeks should have been against the Washington football team, and you failed. That's just facts, man.
Yeah, it's not acceptable. And look, Have we lost differently to Washington? I really wouldn't make that big a deal about it because first game of the year, you know what I'm saying? You're going to have some ups. You're going to have some downs. It's really a scrimmage more than anything. It's the way we lost. It was the refusal of Doug to adapt to anything. It was how bad the offensive line was, right? Some of you guys saying that we should have invested more on defense. What game were you watching? The defense was not our problem.
The defense is what kept
bad
us in the
Until they
game.
got tired. Until they got hurt and got tired. Until they got hurt and got tired. But yeah.
I mean, it was bad position after bad position. The defense looked good to me. What do we do? What do we do with like the injuries now? Like,
wait, you glitched out. Say that again.
Sorry, guys, it's lagging a little bit. No, as I said, the only problem I have with the defense is I'm concerned about the depth at D line right now. That's the only problem I have with the defense.
Yeah,
like,
because
Joe Osman should have either been on this roster or at the very minimum, he should have been a call-up today. Hey, shout out to T.Y. McGill, NC State guy, getting in there getting a sack. I'm telling you this as a guy who's an NC State guy myself. I'd have kept T.Y. McGill on the practice squad and I'd have had Osman up for this game.
Yeah, and so the people saying the defense gave up 27, you got to put the 27 in context. 14 of the points were given to them. Well, not given to them, but were easy drives. Momentum shift / got to go 25 yards for a touchdown. And shout out to but the first touchdown was a blown assignment. Something I said on here, if you guys were watching the pregame, I said you're going to see around the league some blown assignments, and you clearly see them. That Jalen Mills and Avonte Maddox talking. Jalen Mills covers the running back. Avonte Maddox plays high safety inside, but there's so many people inside, and the guy goes in the corner of the end zone wide open. So I don't know who it was, Avonte Maddox, Jalen Mills, but it was miscommunication, and that's the lack of a preseason when you have a new secondary. Slay's new, Coleman's new, Mills at that position's new, Maddox on the outside for the first, like Foley is kind of newish, so you need to get that thing. The linebackers played pretty well. The defense did what it did. Whenever we punted the ball to them, we did what we had to do. We gave them 14 points. And then again, you got to think that last sack fumble that they try to say could have been an incompletion, but it wasn't. I agree with it. Again, they got the ball right down there. So
Russell Branham, I'm going to warn you. You do not want to try to match wits with me on football. I will embarrass the hell out of you.
He's always a hater. Listen,
what's going on?
Like I will expose you for not knowing what the hell you're talking about. I'm not the dude to play with this kind of stuff, man.
Hey, he comments on my videos all the time. He just always says Derrick Henry has more passing touchdowns than Carson in the playoffs. I just saying, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But look, the simple fact is this: the Eagles looked horrible in the second half. Now, the offense, when you look at this game overall, Zach Ertz's attitude and drop was big. The defense, gave some stuff up, but they still played better than our offense. But the three biggest takeaways is the play calling, the offensive line, and then still Carson Wentz giving the ball away when he shouldn't have. And I'm talking the 2 interceptions, even though one is not his fault necessarily. It's on his record. And the other one was the simple fact of the matter is taking us out of field goal range. But even just the fumbles, even though they didn't count against us in bigger games, we can't allow that.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's something that we keep saying is going to get better. And that's the one thing we have not seen get better. And I need to see it get better.
My thing with Wentz is I have no doubt that Wentz is going to come out and ball this year. That doesn't bother me. The only fear I got with Wentz is creating time to throw the ball. That's the biggest problem. Not exposing this kid to a season-ending injury, because I'm sorry, you put any quarterback under the type of pressure he just had this game, ain't nobody looking good. Y'all consider and talk Patrick Mahomes all you want to, he'd be in trouble. He'd be in trouble.
Hey, listen, Nick Foles would have under this. Listen, but let me first say this. Our offensive line looked all-time bad, especially the right side. However, the Washington football team, when this season's done, they're going to have a top 3 D-line. We're not saying it now because we got sacked 8 times. Whoever's in here for the first time, go back and watch the pregame. The pregame, we said, they probably a top 5 or top 3 defensive line. Simple and plain. And so they proved it. Again, I'm going to pump the brakes because I think a lot of D-lines would have ate us up, because we had Driscoll, who really we drafted as a right guard, who we had to play at right tackle. We had Herbig, who was an undrafted free agent, had to play. Then Driscoll goes down. We getting rugby players who been on the team for 3 years, who has not been able to take a step. You watch me and Gate City say this numerous times that he really is not built to be an offensive lineman. I don't care. He can't do it. Get him off the squad.
Yeah,
I
agree with you. Like, I thought as though when they brought Jordan Mailata, he should have been a defensive end, but whatever. But my thing was, what did I say at the beginning of the game? You have an offensive line that is not good at pushing back or being pushed back. They are better at going forward. And then when Jordan Mailata came in the game, I said, oh yeah, we're going to run this football because that's what he's good at. He's good at running forward. He's good at pushing the defense back because that's what he did playing rugby. But no, Mr. Doug Peterson, you want to get into your own zone and you want to feel yourself so much. You don't need no masseuse. So now you're sitting around here looking crazy at 0-1. And now you're on a hot seat with one game. You're on a hot seat because it's not even because we lost the game. It's because we lost the game because of you. Your play calling was atrocious, man. And I can't get over that, man. Yeah. I've been saying Jim Schwartz has been on a hot seat. Jim Schwartz did not lose this game. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. You know what I mean? When you look at the final score, you like, oh man, they put up 27. But that's not really the story. That's not really the story, man. The story was Carson Wentz was getting attacked from everywhere. Like literally everywhere. He didn't feel comfortable in the pocket after the first quarter, the whole game. And Doug, you should have changed that, man. And that's horrible on your end. And let's not forget, we ain't talk about this, but next week we got Aaron Donald. Let's not try to act like dude is not better than Fletcher Cox. You know what I mean? Like, I love Fletcher Cox, but he ain't better than no Aaron Donald. So we got to understand that, man. So what are you going to do then? Are you going to have him sitting in the pocket again and have Aaron Donald bear down on him? No, man. You got to move the freaking pocket. That's the problem. If you move the pocket, we're talking different right now.
Reese, you know what they'll say Thursday? We have full confidence in Nate Herbig. He's had a good week of practice.
No.
Not even Herbig. Bull. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but let me say this real quick. Out of all the Washington people, there's only one. I really don't know many Washington fans in our division. I got a lot of people around me who are Cowboys and Giants fans, so I normally go at them with that, and it's all in the love of football. However, since I've been doing YouTube, I talked to Ed Oliver. You know, he got my number. We talk a couple times, a month. He's a cool dude. When it comes to football and basketball, we talk basketball. Sometimes we talk about DFS a little bit. We started to, not too much. However, as soon as the game was over, he texted me. And as a Washington football fan who could have rubbed it in my face, all he said was good game. And I text him back, good game, my guy, respect. But so shout out to him for that, for just being, a guy who got the dub. And I would have did the same thing because I gave him a super chat when he was live. But shout out to Jalen Williams with a $5 super chat. He said, I saw 0 read options, 1 draw, 0 slants, no power runs. We need offensive line depth and a grinded out running back. RB. 11 has to do better with his fundamentals and FB placement, football placement.
Yeah. Yeah, some of that's true. I mean, they just need to be more diverse in the sets, man. It's the personnel sets. Doug was just, it was the same thing. Like anyone who turned on film of the Eagles would have known exactly what was going on. It was like he did nothing during the offseason to script these guys, to game plan for any of these new guys coming in, how to get them open, how to get the ball in their hands. Like, it's a pain, bro. It's a pain. And a lot of it had to do with the offensive line. I'm not gonna sit there and act like the offensive line play isn't a big part of what happened today, but it's still frustrating, man. It's still frustrating because we had an opportunity to have Cordy Glenn in there. And I know Cordy Glenn wouldn't have made everything perfect. I think Cordy Glenn would have done better than Jordan Mailata. I think he would have damn sure done better than Nate Herbig. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Again, Herbig is a guy who's undrafted. The Eagles are high on because they got to say it. Mailata is a guy who, I don't know. What are they? Listen, these guys are just guys. just guys. Like, we knew once Lane Johnson would have made a difference. I'm talking if he just stops two or three of the sacks on the right side, then plays might turn into something, because you saw us being an offense that can strike big. We went some shots to Jalen Reagor, and even when Carson Wentz overthrew the guy, he was in immense pressure then. Like, he was in a pocket smothered with people. So shout out to Kai Parnell too. Like, there were times where Wentz didn't help out the O-line, but I would say even more than Wentz not helping the O-line, Doug did not help any of his players. He didn't help the receivers. He didn't help the quarterback. He didn't help the O-line. And look, when you play like this in the second half, I'm an Eagle fan. I still want to sneak out the win. But sometimes I say you deserve to lose, for the simple fact is I don't want you to get complacent. You know what I mean? I don't want you to sneak this game out. We win by 2, and then we're playing against the LA Rams next week and doing the same dumb stuff. Sometimes you need to get punched in the mouth to realize not to talk back to somebody. You know what I mean? Not just get told he might punch you in the face. So in the grand scheme of things.
So let me ask y'all this, and I asked the chat this also. You feel as though there's no such thing as a good loss. I never want to hear that from anybody.
Me either.
No, there's no such thing as a good loss.
No.
But you feel as though this is going to better the team, or what? Like, do you feel as though they're going to prosper? Because I got the spotlight on Doug right now. I ain't gonna lie to you. I gave him the benefit of the doubt last year. I felt as though his play calling was subpar. The first 15 scripted plays, whatever you want to call it, they were subpar really all of last year. You know what I mean? And now it's kind of looking like Frank Wright and John DeFilippo was really the guys that was really pulling the plays in and doing. Now, at the end of the year, I ain't gonna lie, he did pull it together. But even in the beginning, we still was in a battle with these teams that should be lesser than us. You know what I mean? So when we looking at Doug, man, it's like, Doug, what are you doing? What is really your plan? And if that's your plan, why are you straying away from it? I thought as though the beginning of the game, he had a good plan, but then you strayed away from it. You cannot do that if it's working. Now, if it's not working, you make adjustments. That's cool. But I did not see no problem with how his offense was running in the beginning of the game. And then you switch it up. You can't do that if it's working. If it's not working, all right, now you go to the scrapbook and you scrap everything, and then you start from scratch or whatever, or you make tweaks. But you should have just kept doing what you was doing. You had the defensive line getting tired. Our defense was fresh because it was drive after drive after drive. It wasn't no 3 and outs. Now we start getting 3 and outs. We start getting fumbles. We start putting them on the red zone. Now they're feeling themselves. Now they're in a position to where as though they probably never thought that they would be against this team. Now they're looking at us as equals. You know what I mean? We should be on a ladder, a stepping stool, whatever you want to call it. But no, now we looking them eye to eye. You cannot do that with teams like this, especially in your division. You up 17-0, you bury them. You keep doing what you're doing until they stop it. They didn't stop it. You stopped your damn self, and that's why I'm pissed, man. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all, man. Go ahead, man. Seriously, I'm pissed.
I agree. I want to say this though. I've gave at least, if I spoke 10 times on this in the last 58 minutes, at least 3 of them were me giving credit to the Washington football team, because I'm also cool with my guy Ed Oliver. But the chat now is really changing it around where, like, forget you guys. Like, look, at the end of the day, you just beat us. But we'll see. The season's long. The season's big.
Exactly.
We beat you 6 times in a row. It was due. Like Gate City said before we go on here, for guys who are just jumping in now, some of these Washington football people didn't have the courage to come in here pregame. Now, listen, there was Washington football fans in here pregame, and we were chopping it up with them. We were telling them that if you have a chance to beat us, now is the best chance to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. For the simple fact, we're not going to have this bad of an offensive line. We're not going to be down Miles Sanders. We're not going to be in the same situation. So this is your best chance to beat us, even though you haven't beat us in 6 tries prior. So we said that. I came on here and opened my statement out Shout out to the Washington football team for playing a decent game. Now, you guys in the chat are not saying, for the people saying we beat you, cool. But y'all talking about the city of Philadelphia and the fan base, like that's a little bit extra when a guy who's in the fan base came on and the first thing that came out of his mouth was respect to the Washington football fans, because as an NFL person, as a person who just respects the game, it is. But guess what? Y'all want to know, take that to the bank, because you already a third of the wins you got last year, my guy. You had 3 wins last year. You're a third of the way there.
See, here's my thing.
Can I ask y'all a question real fast? real fast. I'm gonna ask y'all a question, man.
Go ahead.
I really know the answer, but does this change your record prediction? I had us at 12-4. Obviously, it's probably 11-5, 10-6.
I always
10-6, anyways. But
it's crazy because the last time I went live, man, like by myself, you know, I asked people like, what was the game? It's always going to be a clunker. It's always going to be a clunker. What's the clunker? A lot of people saying Cleveland. People saying the Giants. Nobody said the Washington football team. I did not see this, man. And now we're going to have to look at ESPN. We're going to have to look at Skip Bayless and all that old bullcrap for a whole nother 6 days until we play again. I ain't trying to hear that bullcrap, man. We should not have lost to this team, man. Like, seriously, this is embarrassing, yo. This is not just a clunker. This is an embarrassing win because you go up 17-0. It's different. It's different last year that we was down 17-0 and then we come back. If you lose that game, it's like, all right, you try to fight back. But to be up 17-0 and then they come back and win? So it's a whole reverse of last year.
Yep.
Come on, man. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for the Philadelphia Eagles right now.
I think it all starts and ends with the offensive line. Somebody asked a question earlier where you said, you know, should we have seen this coming? No. We were told that Lane Johnson was going to play. We were that at very minimal, Matt Pryor was going to be the right guard. Like, we didn't come in knowing that was going to be the O-line. Like, exactly. No. I saw some people saying that, hey, they just weren't feeling Boston Scott and they weren't feeling, you know, Corey Clement. I got to ask you, what did you feel about the offensive line not getting any push? Like, what did you expect them to do, guys? I mean, you don't get a push. There's only so much a running back can do.
And wait, I want to say this. We converted the first down on this, but Doug Peterson, after seeing the line was so bad, decided to go for a quarterback sneak for 2 yards. Like, we got it, so it doesn't matter. Like, if you do something like that and you get it, you don't complain. But when he snuck it for 2 yards, I'm like, what are you doing? You don't sneak it for 2 yards. Not with that O-line.
And like, I see some of y'all saying Driscoll was terrible. Like, guys, I don't agree with that. Driscoll's a rookie. Driscoll's got to pass. First game NFL, not an ideal offseason. Driscoll was put in a very difficult situation. Like, I don't put this on Driscoll. To me, this was more about Nate Herbig. Nate Herbig should have been more of a known commodity out there today. He should have been more dependable than what he was. The fact that Nate Herbig was so bad, that concerns me. That concerns me because Nate Herbig will always be an injury away from playing. And that concerns the crap out of me.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I didn't think Driscoll was that bad because we seen that it got way worse
once he went out.
Mailata got into the game. So that's an upgrade. I mean, that's really not saying too much, but like you said, Driscoll is a rookie. But at the same time, Herbig was horrible. The inside pressure, oh my gosh, man. And it made Kelsey even look bad. Kelsey was getting turned around. It seemed like sometimes he ain't know who to block. Mr. 8 million himself. Jason Peters that wanted that money. He looked at loss. People was just running around him. He looked at stiff. He looked at slow. He looked at not interested. Man, this offensive line looked at horrible. And it's crazy because you know why we ranting right now? And I think I said this earlier, but we were so spoiled having a good offensive line for the last 5, 6, 7 years, something like that.
Yeah.
We've been spoiled. So now that we see what it's like to be a Deshaun Watson. We see what it's like to be a Daniel Jones. Eli Manning. Now we looking at it like, yo, this is bad, and they have to fix this. You need to call the guy from the who was the guy? I can't remember his name right now because I'm so mad. The left tackle. I don't care where you put him. You need to plug him in somewhere. You need to figure this out. It has to be soon. Hopefully, Lane Johnson is ready to go, man. You know what I mean? And I don't want Lane Johnson to rush this thing and then he get hurt again because he feels as though he got to rush it back and all that bull crap. No, if he ain't ready to go, you got to find somebody. But I'm going to tell you like this. Herbert ain't the answer. Not at all. That dude looking bad.
Yes.
Yeah, real quick. Yeah. Shout out to all 600.
He was so bad, I started to feel like I could have maybe gone out there and made an impact. That's how bad it was. And I'm not a lineman, guys. I'm not a lineman. I'm a quarterback. I'm not a lineman. I'm a slot receiver. I'm not a lineman.
It was bad, man. It was bad. He looked like a turnstile slot machine, whatever you want to call it. He was bad, man. Seriously. I can't wait for this tape breakdown. Go ahead, Mike.
Nah, shout out to all 603 watching. And when you hear 603, we're on 3 different channels. You got the Philly Talk podcast, you got Philly Fresh channel, and you got Gate City Sports. We're live on all 3 channels, and it amounts to 620 people now. And look, we're not going to be on here much longer. We said our piece. The Eagles played good to start. We adjusted ourselves to play bad. Like, instead of making the adjustment to keep playing good, we switched it all up. I will give credit, and I just said I wasn't going to give it to you guys because there's some Washington fans in here talking more about the fan base, but it's just in my genes to talk good when a team plays good. I like what y'all did in the second half. The D-line's been dominant the whole game, but check this out. Y'all sacked us 4 times in the first quarter and a half, and we were still able to get an offensive movement. So it's not just the sacks that took us out. It was the play calling and the sacks and some bad plays from Carson Wentz that built it all together, and we couldn't get out of it because 8 sacks, 4 in the second half, 4 in the first half. In the first half, you sacked us 4 times. We're still up 17. So shout out to you guys for making the adjustment. Jack Del Rio, Ron Rivera are a better coaching staff than what you had last year. You got talented players on your team in certain situations. Your D-line's good. Maybe your D-line makes your secondary better, but look, as Eagle fans, this is unacceptable because on all levels, we're talking about Carson Wentz needs to be better. Simple and plain. The O-line, it's not going to get much better. So Doug Peterson is going to have to doctor it up with play calling.
Mike, say that again.
The O-line is not going to get better.
Sorry. Say that again.
Next week, we're throwing these same guys out there, so it has to be designed.
The O-line better get better, Mike.
No, I'm saying
better get better.
I'm not saying they're not going to play better. I'm saying we're going to send the same people out there. Maybe Lane Johnson comes, but I don't know.
Hey, I can tell you this. In my opinion, Cordy Glenn just started telling his wife, listen, go buy that new sofa you wanted. Go get the big screen.
Yeah, Cordy Glenn. I'm so flustered. I'm so flustered. I forgot. Cordy Glenn got to be here immediately. We have to. We're calling him on the way home. On the way home from Washington, we're calling Cordy Glenn up. We're double checking Lane Johnson's ankle.
He should have been called at halftime. He should have been called at halftime.
Exactly. Listen,
you see what I got going on here?
If Vontae Davis can retire at halftime, we could call a player up at halftime. So we need to call Cordy Glenn up ASAP. We need to make sure Lane Johnson's out there next week. And we also got to say, Doug Peterson, wake up and smell the coffee. Like, you got to be better. So you got any last closing thoughts? Because there is some good football downstairs that we could go downstairs and watch. And I want to get some good football in my face because I didn't see nothing yet. You know what I mean? So go ahead, Fresh. You got anything you want to end on this?
Be better. Be better, do better, man. Like seriously, what else is there to say? Like I'm finally a little bit calmed down, you know what I mean? Got a lot going on right now, so I'm calmed down. I'm calm. I'm chilling.
Also, wait. So
I'm going to put up a video tomorrow. I was probably going to go ahead.
No, that's what I'm gonna say. Give us your closing thoughts and let them know where they can find you and stuff.
I'm probably gonna put up a video. I was gonna do it today, but I said no. Let me hit up my guys. Let's go live because I'm pissed. And I wanted to do my rant, and I wanted to get the reaction from y'all. But if you need to find me, you already know, man. It's Philly Fresh at YouTube. My Twitter is Philly Fresh 60. I think I don't really be on there like that, but I'm gonna start doing it because I'll be seeing a lot of people they get information from there. So I need to start going on that, John. Got a lot of things coming up, man. Y'all already know, man. But I'm a full for the Better Bird podcast, man. Appreciate everybody stopping by until later, man. Probably tomorrow, man. Y'all know what it is. Stay Philly, stay fresh, y'all.
Go ahead, Gate.
Steve, Gate City Sports Channel. Man, final thoughts. It comes down to O-line, man. O-line got to be better. And the organization's got to make better choices, man. Look at who we chose to activate. Come on. Make better choices. Look at your inactives. You drafted a dude in the second round, and you had him inactive. Hey, man, I said it was a mistake to draft him, but once you make the pick, you're invested. You are invested in this kid. How can this kid impact a football game if he can't even play in it? It makes no sense. You said that you drafted him because you view him as more than a quarterback. How can my man be more than a quarterback if he can't even be on the field? Like, he can't even be suited up. He can't even be in there with the rah-rah. I mean, come on, man. Like,
hey, Mike, I need to get that man over to my right out of here, man. Seriously, man. That man right there. Right there. You got to get him out of here, man. I ain't talking about Gate City. I'm talking about that man pointing the finger.
Oh, yeah.
Dougie.
Yeah, I need Doug. I don't want to see Doug. I ain't gonna watch his press conference till tomorrow. I don't want to see him, man. Seriously, man. What was you thinking? But go ahead, Mike. My bad. I know we trying to get out of here. Go ahead.
Hit him with it real quick.
I'm gonna have to say, man, the dysfunction between the front office, the coaching staff, and the players, it's concerning. It's concerning.
It is. You want to know why? And I said this last year. You come out, Doug Peter. I don't know what's going on. Doug Peterson comes out last year, right? What does he say? Oh, my offensive coordinator, he will be back. We talking about Mike Groh. He will be back. And then the next day he's fired. And then you talk about Jason Peters. Oh, Jason Peters came into my locker room saying that he's going to play left tackle and whatever. And then next thing we know, the front office bumps him, gives him a bump. I'm gonna tell you like this. It seems like the organization does not have, I ain't gonna say trust, but respect for Doug Peterson. Like, seriously. First of all, they hired Jim Schwartz first. He's not allowed to hire his own staff. All these guys that came over here is not Doug's picks. All the Stan, whatever dude's names is, they're not the guys that Doug wanted. I ain't gonna say wanted, but they're not Doug's picks. They are Howie Roseman's picks. You know what I mean? So we got to understand that. I made a video about this, I want to say about 6 months ago. Is Doug just a puppet, man? It's starting to seem like that. It's starting to seem like the organization does what they want and they tell Doug afterwards. You know what I mean? Like, just even with the Jason Peters thing, like I just said, like, you signed him. It seemed like Doug didn't know that he was getting signed because he went on an interview, a press conference saying, Peterson came into John and they asked him about the money, or I don't really know about none of that right now. And then next thing you know, he get $5 million extra. Man, something ain't right. Something ain't right, bro.
All right. So yeah, like I said, I was only gonna do 45 minutes, but we went on a thing, Shout out to all 497 still in here, even though we said we were gonna end it. Like I said, for those who were here from the beginning, those who are jumping in, I was embarrassed by this loss. The Eagles did a lot of things horrible. We're talking about quarterback play at times was horrible. We're talking about O-line play and coaching. But when you put it together, actually the quarterback, when you put it together, you get a disaster. However, I will not discredit what the Washington football team did in the second half to make that adjustment. I'm going to shout out Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio. The offense was still, the defense put your offense in good spots. I give credit where credit's due. No matter if we go 1-15 or no matter what our record is this year, every time I come on here, when we play a team, I'm going to give the credit to the team. Your offense was up and down. Your defense won the game. And our offense was just not good. So, with all that being said, I go by Philly Mike, host of the Philly Talk podcast. For all Eagle fans in here, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Philly_Mike25 and subscribe to the channel. We do live streams throughout the week. We also do regularly scheduled videos. We got that all coming up. We'll have the preview probably by Wednesday for the LA Rams. I will dissect this game more. So will Philly Fresh and Gate City. Probably Monday, you see more of a real where did it all go wrong? We all know where, but we're all emotional in it at this point. Now, with that being said, I did get a super chat, so let me hit that real quick. I think. Shout out to Stephen Joyce, or someone got a super chat. He just said $5 to whoever. Appreciate you guys. Like I said, if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe to all the people and smash that like button on the way out. It really helps the stream. It takes 1 second to click the thumbs up, and even the Washington footballers. Y'all shouldn't be mad at all. Y'all got the W. So hit the like button if you're in here. Appreciate it. Until next time we're talking post-game, it won't be about an L. I promise you that. Or maybe I'm a liar. I don't know. We'll see. Until next time, you know what time it is. But that guy who said call Cordy Glenn up, call every offensive lineman on the open market and see what